good evening to each and every one of you joining us on this very special night. You do join us backstage here at the AO Arena. On stage, there are 15 musicals coming together to bring you their individual show business spectacular, each on stage, and a few special things going on as well. So sit back and relax and enjoy this week's episode of Your Manchester. Night of the musicals. You love musicals.
Love a musical, as do you.
Well, yeah, this must be, hello. This must be an ideal job for you.
It's perfect. It's one of those jobs, I must say, and it rarely happens for me, that if I was sat at home watching it on telly and someone else was hosting, I'd be livid.
Yeah. This must be sensational for you performing here tonight.
Yeah, but you know, nothing is as sensational as your outfit, I must say that.
Well, thank you. This is
to meet you.
distracting me.
As it should.
It's very distracting.
Take a number.
When I came through the door, I thought, is that Patricia Quinn?
Did you?
I swear to God, I thought you were Pat Quinn. You look fabulous.
Look like Pat Quinn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
like
yeah, well, Pat Quinn. Yeah. This is a sensational show tonight, but you're also coming from a sensational show, and Juliet.
Yeah.
Perhaps for people that don't know anything about the show, I mean, they've obviously been hidden under a rock. What is the show all about?
Go on, tell them.
It is a celebration of the music of Max Martin. Probably 80% of the hits that we've known for the last 25 years have been written by Max Martin, although we didn't know he was behind the scenes. That collaboration with him and Shakespeare and the story of Romeo and Juliet sets us off on a pretty great path.
So,
yikes. Okay.
Explain the story of your musical.
Oh gosh. The Drifters Go. Let's go back to show. The Drifters Go. A story about Faye Treadwell, the first African. Oh my gosh. I had this. You know why? Because we did this, and I had it down to a T. I had it scripted, and I was like, let me just. Okay.
Explain the story of your musical.
Oh, easy. The story tells a beautiful story about Faye Treadwell, the first African-American woman to ever manage a group of its size. And it explains the trials and tribulations that she went through, the doors that weren't open, the doors that she had to make herself to open herself and allow other people to follow in her footsteps. Not only that, we look at the life that the Drifters had with Faye Treadwell alongside her daughter, Tina Treadwell, who is also featured in the show.
That was very good. Now, you've not come into the show properly as yet,
No, not
have you?
yet.
Any
Not yet
apprehensions
at all.
as yet?
No, not at all. What I really want to do is make sure that I'm in all the proper places, because I'm not coming in as a brand new show. I'm coming in as a person that needs to be on left 2 and right 6 and make sure I'm not knocking anyone over or knocking him over.
I mean, you know, musicals have been open for a few months, but not everybody knows, not everybody sort of feels confident in getting out there. So I think it does feel like the right time, especially January. Everyone's feeling a bit down. Is it opening? Are we closing? What's going on? We've had back and forth for so long. This feels like, do you know what? We're back. We're open. Come and see us.
So, joined by the cast of the Wiz. This must be a sensation for you. You started off doing the show at Hope Mill. I think 100-seater?
100-seater.
13,000?
Yeah.
Doing all right for you?
Yeah.
Good feeling?
Yeah, real good feeling.
So is this the end of the journey for the Wiz then?
It is. We would love to come back and do something and share more of the magic that we've created. But for now, yes, we had our final bow. So to be back here tonight and do this, it just brings more life into it.
Well, you've looked out tonight, haven't you, really? Because you're covering.
Yes.
But you're covering in the arena. I mean, that must be a bit good.
Oh yeah, I mean, Mitch and I have talked about it multiple times today. It's just, we feel so lucky. It really doesn't feel real being here. It really is such an honor to be here as covers.
And speaking of honours and awards, you're doing quite all right for yourself at the moment, aren't you?
Well, you know, it's a wonderful role. So you know, I think it's a real privilege to be able to play this character. Who and certainly in the show and in the performance, hopefully tonight, it's going to be amazing when we see the audience just going crazy. And I can see it in the show every night. People seeing their life, kind of through Evan, vicariously through Evan. So I think it's wonderful.
It's a joy to be back anywhere, just to be standing on a crate in a pub in a corner. That would be great singing, but to be in front of 14,000 musical theatre fans in one of the biggest, best arenas in the country, it's going to be an incredible experience.
And you stepped in only a couple of weeks ago to reprise your role of Jean Valjean. How did that feel?
It was Awful. I'll be honest, yeah. I had 24 hours notice. I hadn't sung the role for well over a year, and I went in to help out, and it was like, rabbit in headlights. It was a really stressful but ultimately rewarding experience.
Now tonight you're doing Bring Him Home. Why is that song so important to everybody? It seems like it is.
If I knew the answer to that, I'd have written my own.
That's really what I'm worried
tonight's
about.
a totally different experience as well. Obviously your shows are normally in theatres. Tonight in an arena. How does it feel?
Massive. I mean, there's thousands of people here.
It's
How many
quite
people are in a
daunting.
theatre?
As far as you look, you can see people, just thousands. It's amazing.
It must be a bit freaky.
It's fun.
You can have fun with it. Is there any other shows that perhaps you'd wanted to see that are on the list with you tonight?
Yeah, I want to see Tina.
Deal.
Okay then, so you're in Tina the musical. Tell us a little about the show.
The show is simply the best,
Yes.
and I think everyone should come and watch it.
And does it make you proud, Mary?
Absolutely sends me nutbush crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot of notes, don't you? I mean, to be fair, you're sometimes river deep, mountain high.
Sometimes I'm in, sometimes I'm out. Hoops up here, everywhere, turning around.
I love
Tina
it.
Turner, there's so many. Oh my God.
Get up, stand up. It's such a great opportunity to see all of our community, as well as bits and pieces of what they have to offer, and then also be a part of it as well.
There's a lot of new shows in the West End this year.
It's
Lots
doing
of
good,
new
isn't
things
it?
to see.
Yeah.
really good.
It's so important that the National Lottery has thrown in its lot with us poor performers who have had to sit at home and not do anything for so long. So with their help, there's going to be a whole crop of young, vibrant musical theatre performers who have a chance to do something, and to have a career because of the funding of the National Lottery going into production companies and going into, various different projects. It's so fantastic. And of course, the projects that are already up and running, like our show, helping them to keep going and to exist in such a tough economic space is brilliant.
The lottery supporting this tonight, it's important because of?
Oh, it's important because everybody needs to be aware of, theater. And I mean, there's so many people in the audience who every single musical that hits the stage tonight, there's going to be something that touches them. That maybe they wouldn't have an easy time, getting in touch with themselves without musical theater. And so bringing awareness to it is just so important.
Without them, things like this wouldn't happen.
Why are musicals still so important to people?
I think musicals are important because they allow people to be transported to a new world and to just kind of take themselves out of reality for 2.5 hours. So musicals like Evan, The Lion King, just gives people a bit of hope and a bit of imagination, really. I think we need it.
Now we do want to ask you, how do you stay being a legend for so many wonderful years? Tell our viewers your top tips on being and remaining a legend.
Oh my God. Well, my lovely. I tell you what, I love life, I love music, I love to perform, and I swear that helps to keep you, not just youthful, because that's a bit weird, but it keeps you relevant, it keeps you excited to do what you do, and I think the public can feel that, and because the public can feel that from me, they're kind enough to always ask me back to do things, and it's a mutual, appreciation. So it's the public.
Now, not to embarrass you at all, Mr. Sam Tutty, but we were speaking to our viewers this week, and you are up there as number 3 top ginger.
Top ginger? Oh my God! Amazing. Okay, that's a lot. That's okay.
That's good. How does that make you feel?
I'm privileged. I'm honoured. Yeah, I think it's certainly something I'm gonna try and strive to be number 1.
Yes.
I didn't realise I was going to be 3rd, but
you can do it.
It's privilege, but I'm not gonna stop until I'm ginger. I'm done. Yeah.
You're sticking with ginger.
I'm not gonna stop until I'm a number 1 for sure. 100%.
14 of the best songs from the best shows. Full, costume, the stars of those shows. There's also some really special medleys as well, which you won't get to see anywhere else.
So what are the medleys that we can
We've
look
got
forward to?
the Drifters girl with Beverley Knight, so she's performing with the boys. They're singing 3 or 4 songs on the show, which obviously you wouldn't see usually. And very excitedly, we've got a Disney medley, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Frozen, all performing on stage at the same time.
Now, you've done musicals. You've done lots of musicals. If there's one that you could be in that you've not done yet, what would you be in?
Crikey. I mean, if I could edge into the Tina Turner musical, I'm sure there must be a part of me somewhere.
I could see you in a tassel dress like that. I really could. I think you look fantastic.
Yeah.
In just a few words, why should people come and watch this?
This show is, if you're at home on Saturday night, it's on BBC One, it's on Radio 2. This is a show full of joy. it's over 400 people have put this show together to make sure that it got made and got done, and it just feels like, for me, like a show that when you finish watching it, you'll feel happier, endorphins released in your brain, blood pressure lowered. It's one of those shows that's just full of joy.
Welcome to the fourth and final, thank goodness, part of Coach Kai's training. We've so far looked at our exercise, we've looked at our foods, we've looked at our relationships with foods, and also what we can be doing at the gym and when we can be doing it. And this week, it's time to put it all together, bringing it all together, what you're meant to be doing in this new year. So Kai, what's the first thing we need to be looking at now that we know of this overall?
So, looking at putting a plan in place mainly.
Okay.
Again, that can be specific to you at the position you're in your life right now.
Yeah.
Most people after Christmas, it's usually nothing.
Fair.
But, I mean, like I say, that can start with getting a step tracker on your phone if it's not already got one. Looking at what you've been doing recently, if you did already have one.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at maybe starting to implement step goals. That's just with the steps. Looking at buying more protein in your food shops.
Yeah.
Having protein with most of your meals. Again, doesn't need to be every. I know I said that, but
yeah,
no one's going to want protein with a donut either. So the donut should be filling enough at that moment in time. So it's more just implementing these little tips as and when we can, and setting a blueprint of your week. Doesn't need to be specific. It's going to be this at this time, this at this time. I'm going to do this at this time. But on a Sunday, sit down, plan your week in advance. Know when you're going to train, because that's a big part of your day.
Yeah.
Know what you're going to be having for most of your meals. Again, doesn't need to be the whole day planned out. You can have spontaneous stuff. You don't need to restrict things fully. If somebody brings donuts into the office, you're not going to say, "Oh, I better not." So make some leeway.
Bring donuts into the office, please.
Yeah, maybe plan your evening meals for the week. Protein in them all. Decide whether or not you're going to want breakfast. Maybe you want to leave it to the day till you wake up and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Just more planning ahead, setting yourself goals.
Now, obviously, not everyone is at the same space as others, almost, not just physically when it comes to their weight and things like that. They obviously have some physical injuries. So people have lower back problems.
So again, that might not necessarily be an injury, but like you're saying, lower back problems.
Yeah.
So doing too much housework, walking too long, being stood up in the same place for certain amounts of time, sometimes it can be associated with lower back pain. Now, that's not just how lives are supposed to be. It probably didn't happen so many centuries ago, but with modern day lifestyles, the way we're sat down all day or most of the day, maybe slouch on chairs, it's going to cause imbalances in our muscles.
Okay.
There's a really good engager / warm up we can do mornings and evenings. Doesn't need to be every morning, like we said in one of the previous episodes. If you go too all in and you miss one of them, it can be associated with guilt.
Yeah.
And then you end up might just not doing it at all ever again. Which, if we can try and minimise our back pain, our backache, then even the littlest bit of help helps.
Right.
So, they're called core warm-ups, which will basically switch our core on. And we've got some glute warm-ups, which will switch our glutes on. The reason we want to switch...
for everyone out there.
Yes. Reason... Good idea, yeah.
Just in case nobody knows,
we want to switch them on is because lower back pain usually associated with hip pain.
Okay.
Or hip tightness, sorry. Now, hip tightness is caused by having weak glutes.
Okay.
You strengthen the glutes, it loosens the hips.
Okay.
So, we're going to start on our hands and knees. So, it's going to be opposite hand, opposite leg. So, it's going to be his left hand, right hand. It's going to be his left leg. It's going to be his left hand, it's going to be his right leg. You're going to straighten the body out as much as you can. Now, what a lot of people tend to do with these, if you just raise your foot higher than it needs to be, a lot of people tend to do this naturally. What we want to try and do is really straighten that core out.
Okay.
This is one of his core engagers. So what we'll do next, we'll show the next one, which will be a plank, which you've done with me before.
Yes.
So you're going to come down. Yeah, perfect. Basically, what you want to try and do is straighten the body out. We're going to go into some side points.
Okay.
So he's going to be lay on his side.
Yeah.
One leg on top of the other, on his forearm. Then you're just going to raise this hip. Try not to just raise it off the floor. Try and raise it through the roof. And you're going to hold that then for 15 seconds.
Okay.
So half the time of the normal plank. Okay, we're going to go for the crunches, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon doesn't do. There you go. That's a full sit up. We don't want to be in a full sit up. We just want to be bringing the shoulder blades up off the floor.
Okay.
So they're called low crunches. Ready to go?
Yeah.
Good. You're going to bend the knees. There you go. Nice and close to the bum of the feet, which is done. And just raise your shoulder blade, just like that. Just nice, simple. Nothing too much, nothing too heavy. But if you want to move, I'll show these last ones. Go on. I'm going to be like completely on our side. Bottom leg's going to stay flat. Top foot is going to go onto the ankle. So you got a slight knee bend at the top. So rather than being like this, pull this top foot to the ankle. On our forearms, try and face our body completely this way. And all we're going to do is just open this hip as much as we can. So bring the knee up, keeping the foot on the ankle.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Kai.
I have got a gift for you, actually.
You've got a gift for me? What have you got for me?
Now, for my normal personal training in the gym,
of course.
Should have gave you this a long time ago, actually.
Oh, I deserve it, apparently.
Just after this last 3-4 weeks, I thought it'd be a nice time to give it to you.
Oh, thanks.
So I've been holding on to it especially for you.
Oh, I do love a present.
Very old Coach Kai training shirt.
Very nice.
So you can wear that in the gym with me now, yeah?
I'll look great. I hope I fit into it. Oh my
After
God.
all the work we've done, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, fantastic. Well, if anyone does want to get in contact with Kai and you want to learn some of this coaching from this incredible man, then you can go on to Coach Kai Training. It's available online. Just search it up and you'll be able to find him. I'm highly sure.
www.coachkaitraining.com.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kai.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And thank you for taking us through these past 4 weeks. I hope you've had a great time with Coach McCann. If you want him back, let us know. Contact us at yourmcr.com and we'll see you later.
I'm here with Carly. Hi, Carly.
Hi, you're right.
Yeah. I've taken her by surprise and pounced on her. Tell us about the Open briefly.
So I've coordinated the Open this time. It's a big celebration of all things creative in Manchester. I'm very proud to be a part of it. The youngest artist was just here, and the age spans until 74, from 3 years old.
3 years old?
Yeah, so it's all mediums, everyone's welcome. Yeah, it's super exciting to see everything in the flesh and having the artists in the exhibition.
Well, in the old Manchester, we'll put that out there because it'll be fantastic for people to see ordinary people's artwork and talent, as well as professionals side by side.
And remember, there's a People's Choice Award, so come down and vote for your favourite.
Oh, beautifully done. Thank you, Carly.
It's all right.
And it's ordinary people alongside professionals that are in this exhibition, which is great. And it brings together artworks including paintings, prints, photography, sculpture, digital and mixed media, video, audio, visual, spoken word, performance, and so much more. And they're impressed by the range, quality, different artist styles and inspirational artwork being created across Greater Manchester. And of course it's across the 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester. Do we know the 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester? I'll share with you just to remind you what the 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester are. Bolton, Bury, Oldham, Rochdale, Stockport, Tameside, Trafford, Wigan and the cities of Salford and Manchester. Now look at that. PlayStation symbol. Excellent. Now this looks like my dressing table. Just full of stuff. So back in 2020, Mr. Husband, who does photography as a hobby, was entered into the 2020 art exhibition and has been fortunate enough to have 2 pictures. Not one, but 2 pictures entered this year for 2022. Over there in the distance, one of my favourites, which is a super picture Marvin Gaye, done in tiles, broken tiles. Someone's finished the bathroom and the kitchen, and we thought, what can I do? Okay, so I'm going to end it on Marvin Gaye's lips.
Well, if some of you can't join us here at this wonderful event, then fear not. And if you're feeling a little bit down, fear not. We've got our Jo Britton, and she's going to lift you up with a little bit of mojo.
It's Jo Britton, your personal performance coach here for another minute of mojo. Are you struggling, like lots of my clients are at the moment, to get motivated? We're rapidly heading towards the end of January. It's still dark outside, and maybe some of your New Year's resolutions have already gone out of the window. Well, you wouldn't be alone. So here is a brain hack for you to help you get motivated and get your mojo back. It's to get curious. Curiosity is a number one primal emotion. It is the desire to acquire more instinct. And when we get curious, it stimulates mid-regions in the brain, releasing dopamine, the reward chemical. So we really feel good. So how do you do that? Ask yourself curious questions like this one. If we were to meet 12 months from today, what would have happened for you to feel that you've made progress? Try that out, and if that fails, you can always just wear a bit of sparkle. I'll be back next time for another minute of mojo. In the meantime, you can come and follow me on my Instagram page, jobritton.mojo, for more tips.
So many shows going on around Manchester. We are, of course, going to be joined by Blood Brothers very, very soon. That classic tale of two wonderful brothers from that little place known as Liverpool. And one of the stars of the show joins us now. Sean Jones, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Your
accent's better than most of the people in the shows.
Did you like that? I did that scene. I think everybody at school had to do that scene from Blood Brothers where you one's posh and one's not. I think that was the way it was at school. You all had to do that sensible scene. It's a Willie Russell play, musical. Perhaps tell everybody the story of it without giving anything away.
Thank you for that. I mean, it's complicated enough to tell it with giving stuff away. Okay, two twins separated at birth. One goes to a posh family and one stays at home with a poor family, and they grow up on opposite sides of the track. That's the essential part of the story, but they keep meeting and they become best friends despite the parents trying to keep them apart, because obviously it's a secret that they're actually twins. And they may or may not find out at the end. How about that? Did I not give anything away?
Absolutely spot on that, Sean. It's the way that it's done, though, because, you know, to watch the start of this, you think, oh, this is very, very dark. Then it goes into something so bubbly and so cheerful, and the next minute, you're just like settling in nicely, and then it's like, it's a turn, isn't it? It's so clever.
Genius of writing with that Willie Russell has done, of structure, that you, it goes at a pace as well. I mean, some of the scenes in the play, I think like the longest scene is only about 1.5 pages long. It just slips along, and it is, I know it's a cliche, but it is a roller coaster that you don't know what's coming, unless, of course, you're one of the many Blood Brothers fans who have seen it about 50 million times. But if it's your first time seeing it, you, as you mentioned there, you don't know what's coming at all from one moment to the next, because you go from a moment of boardroom melodrama to suddenly adults playing children, which you hopefully quite quickly forget and just get involved with the characters, to eventually going into some real dark drama towards the end of the play, where my characters take some real dark turn.
It's sensational. Do you have a favourite part of the show? I mean, it seems strange really knowing the story, but I mean, what is your favourite part of the show for you as an actor, I suppose?
It all depends on how tired I am, because I love doing the kids stuff. It's high energy, high octane stuff. You know, you're playing a 7-year-old. Obviously, we don't act. It's a weird thing. We don't act like 7-year-olds, but we have to sort of imbue it with all the energy and enthusiasm that a 7-year-old would have. And you know, on a Wednesday matinee at my age, that can be quite hard to summon up. So maybe sometimes on those days, I quite prefer the sort of slower, quieter scenes towards the end. Yeah, it depends on my mood. Do you know what? But the beauty is it's a part I've been playing for quite some time, as a lot of people know, and it's you get to a point where you just go, what a joy of a part of this amazing journey, and you get to do everything. You get to make an audience laugh, and you get to make an audience sob, ugly tears. Actually, what's better than that, really, as an actor?
And it would seem that towards the end, I'm trying so hard not to give anything away here, Sean, but it would seem at the end, I mean, you guys are all totally evoked by this story and 1,000% into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, thanks to the writing, it's very hard to not feel emotionally involved with it. I think we all relate to the story. And we all can. That's probably, part of the key to the story's success is everybody finds a way to relate to Blood Brothers, be it through family, through loss, or through circumstances that some of the characters find themselves in. And it's funny how you might even get a letter sometimes of somebody who goes, "Oh my God, this story is brilliant, and it really touched home because I lost my grandmother a few weeks ago," and you go, "Well, that's really interesting because there's nothing to do with that in Blood Brothers, but it's just there's obviously I think people find it very cathartic to go and just get moved by a piece of theatre. And let's be honest, we've all missed getting to do that for the last couple of years anyway."
Exactly. Of course, you've had that so many mothers since your time in Blood Brothers.
Well, I was going to say you need to throw your hat in the ring. You'd be ace.
I do a wonderful. Tell me it's not true. I do, honestly.
Yeah, I've had all of the Nolans. I've had Melanie C. That was incredible. The fabulous Lynn Paul, wonderful Nikki Evans that we've got at the moment. I worked with her for many years. Some years ago now, I think it was about 10 years ago. She did it last. And yeah, it's and interestingly, my wife as well played. Because my wife played Mrs. Lyons in the show, who understudies Mrs. Johnson. So I was in the very strange position sometimes of having my wife playing my mum on stage, which was, I'm sure, a psychiatrist would have a lot to discuss and unpack there, really.
Yeah. I mean, is it strange, because you know the role so well, because you've done it so many times, going into a different kind of show because of the way that the mothers are played?
Yeah, I mean, it keeps everything fresh. When there's, I've got a new wife at the moment. I've got a new Linda in the show, who's wonderful, and it's lovely to rediscover those scenes with a new actress, so that I'm not just churning out the same stuff year on year on year. And the same goes with Mrs. Johnson. My relationship with all my mums on stage is subtly different. Whether an audience can pick up on that, I wouldn't know, because obviously we still have to keep to the same beats and the same rhythm of the scene and the same emotional heart of the scene. But inevitably, how I respond to, like, say, Linda Nolan is very different from how I'll respond to Mel C on stage, because they're very different people. And, sometimes you've got somebody like Linda Nolan who's incredibly like a mum, and she'd tell me off on the side, as I think sometimes she'd forget that actually she wasn't really my mum, but she took on that role brilliantly. And I think Nikki Evans has a little twinkle in her eye sometimes when she's dealing with me, like, hey.
It's amazing. Now, this is coming to Manchester from the 15th of February. You've obviously been to Manchester a few times. Any particular parts of Manchester that you love?
Do you know what? It's always weird to go back to Manchester to sort of see how much of it has changed. And because I'm proper old school northern, I'm in North Wales, but Manchester was always a good shopping day out for us. And my teenage years were spent hanging around Affleck's Palace and stuff like that. So I always gravitate down to that area and the record shops and the vintage shops and everything. Because I'm a bit vintage myself now, you see.
I know the feeling. I'm stuck in the 80s. Listen, normally at the end of these interviews, I would ask the person I'm speaking to sum up why people should see the show. But, you know, I think it speaks for itself. So I'm not going to ask you that question. I'm simply going to say, Sean Jones, thank you so much for your time today and have a fabulous run here in Manchester, 15th to the 26th of February. Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Here's some admissible events happening across Manchester in the next few days. And it seems to be comedy central in the city this weekend. On Thursday, Ed Byrne is at the Stockport Plaza with his show called If I'm Honest. Also at the Plaza on Friday, Dave Spikey is appearing with A Funny Thing Happened. And this Sunday at the Manchester Opera House, Ross Noble takes to the stage with his show called Humanoid. At home, you can see Box of Tricks, which is there for a creative weekend showcasing new plays from their current Playbox playwrights and connecting with local writers and theatre makers. On Friday and Saturday at the Oldham Coliseum, you can see the greatest hits of Motown featuring songs made famous by Lionel Richie, The Temptations, Stevie Wonder and more. At the Stoller Hall on Monday lunchtime, there's a concert from Chris Augustine. And at the AO Arena on Saturday and Sunday, it's the Strictly Come Dancing Live Arena Tour 2022. At the Museum of Science and Industry, you can see a great exhibition called 14 Scientists Who Shaped Our Lives, which of course includes the great Alan Turing. And whether you're red or blue, you'll love one of the exhibitions at the National Football Museum right now called When Football Was Football. The photography of Sefton Samuels. It features some iconic pieces from the 60s all the way to the 80s. And if you've an event you'd like us to tell the whole of Greater Manchester about, then drop us a line. Contact us at yourmcr.com.
Now, of course, it's not all about theatre. There is, of course, television. Let's join our Hayley to see exactly what's on the box.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to this week's On The Box. Now, if you haven't started watching it already, there is of course a new series of The Bay over on ITV. And of course, that's set around the corner from all of us in Morecambe. Now, there's also The Good Karma Hospital. That stars Amanda Redman and it tells a story of a junior doctor called Ruth who goes to India in search of a job. Over on the BBC, we have Rules of the Game, and that stars the wonderful Maxine Peake, and it's about an HR director who begins their job and she tries to change the lads' culture at the firm. Over on Netflix, I watched the film The Unforgivable, starring Sandra Bullock, and that is definitely one to watch. And also, I thoroughly enjoyed Centre Stage, another one to watch there as well. Now that's it from me. I shall catch you next time, and remember, stronger together. Bye.
Well, we might be very comfortable in here in this lovely arena, but what's the weather going to be like for the rest of the week? Paul, what's the weather like?
Thank you. Good evening. Hello, my lovely weather watchers, and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. And this week, I'm here at the beautiful and stunning Hollingworth Lake here in Littleborough, Rochdale. It's absolutely beautiful. Hollingworth Lake is 2.4 miles to get around. It's very accessible and it also has these stunning, beautiful views. And it's so quiet at this time, it's lovely, apart from rowers going past. Okay, this week's weather, it's a mixed bag weather-wise. Here comes this week's details. Alright, Thursday is looking cloudy with the temperatures of 9 degrees Celsius. Friday is looking cloudy as well with the temperatures of 9 degrees Celsius. And this is where it's all going to change at the weekend. Saturday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 10 degrees Celsius, and Sunday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 10 degrees Celsius as well. So it's looking wet for Manchester. Not only that, we're going to be having strong winds as well, so just be careful, wrap up warm, stay safe. So from me, Paul Rudd, here at Hollingworth Lake, here in Littleborough, Rochdale, it's back to the studio for this week's amazing episode of, are you ready? Your Manchester!
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Your Manchester. You've been fantastic. Next week, join us live in studio with the one and only Julie Hesmond-Hausch and a whole host of fantastic cast. Till then, thanks very much for watching Your Manchester.